Welcome to the Deep Dive. We sort through, well, mountains of information to bring you the really fascinating stuff tailored just for you. Today, we're jumping into this huge internet mystery. Cicada 3301, it's puzzled people for, over a decade now?
It really has. And for this one, we've looked at a whole range of things, news articles from when it first hit, some deep dive YouTube videos, even an academic paper trying to sort of unpack it all.
A real mix, then.
Yeah, different angles. You get the sort of immediate reactions and then the more considered analysis later on.
Okay, great. So our mission here is to kind of cut through all the noise, get to the heart of the puzzles, the theories about who was behind it and, what its lasting impact actually is. Think of it like getting the key insights without getting totally bogged down in super technical details. We want those aha moments for you. I mean, have you ever found a mystery online that just grabs you? Cicada 3301 definitely did that for a lot of people. Okay, so where did this whole thing even start?
Well, it kicked off pretty quietly, actually. January 2012, an image appears on 4chan.
Right.
Specifically the X board. That's the one for, paranormal stuff, unexplained things.
Right.
And it was just this stark image, white text on black. The message was, direct, but really intriguing. It said something like, "Hello, we are looking for highly intelligent individuals. To find them, we have devised a test.
Okay, test.
There is a message hidden in this image. Find it, and it will lead you on the road to finding us. Good luck. 3301.
Wow, okay, so straight away it's a challenge. And people didn't just read the text, they looked in the image file itself.
Exactly. They dug into the image data and found this line. Looked like nonsense at first. Caprives Claveld of Caesar says LXT 33 to El Mulki. L-Kive to AKT33 W von Tuthi.
Tiberius Claudius Caesar. Okay, that sounds like a clue.
It absolutely was. People quickly figured it was a Caesar cipher. That's pretty basic encryption, right? You just shift letters down the alphabet.
And Tiberius Claudius Caesar, he was the 4th Roman emperor.
Yeah.
So shift to 4.
You got it. Decrypting that string with a shift of 4 revealed a web link.
The next step. So what was at the link? The answer.
Not quite. It was an Imgur link, but the image was just, a picture of a duck.
Duck.
Yeah, a duck. And text that said, "Looks like you can't guess how to get the message out." Kind of cheeky, really.
Okay, I can see how that might throw people off. Seems like a dead end.
It might have felt like it.
Oh.
But that phrase, "guess how to get the message out." Look at guess and out.
Guess. Outguess. Like this.
Precisely. Outguess, the steganography tool, hiding messages inside other files.
Okay, so they needed to run the duck image through outguess.
Right. And doing that pulled out another message. This one gave a book code and said something like, "Go to this specific Reddit link for the book and more info."
Wow, okay, it's layers upon layers already. So off to Reddit they went. Was the subreddit just a forum or?
Nope. The subreddit itself was part of the puzzle too. Its header image had these lines and dots, Mayan numerals.
Mayan numerals.
Yeah. And the title of the subreddit, combined with those Mayan numerals, formed a code. This time, it needed a Vigenère cipher to crack it.
That's more complex than the Caesar cipher, right? Uses a keyword.
Exactly. The subreddit title was the keyword, and the Mayan numbers gave the shift values. Really intricate stuff.
So what did that unlock, finally getting somewhere?
Well, it revealed a piece of text, an excerpt from Thomas Bulfinch's mythology specifically. The story of King Arthur and the Holy Grail.
King Arthur. Okay. And remember that book code from the outguess message.
That's where it came in. They now had the book, Bulfinch's Mythology, and the specific code. Applying that code to the King Arthur text revealed a phone number.
A phone number, a real one. That's a big jump from online clues.
A real working U.S. phone number. Definitely took things offline, at least partly.
So what happened when people called? Please don't say it was another duck picture.
No, it was a robotic voice. It gave the next task. It mentioned 3 prime numbers connected to the original image file. One prime was 3301, it said that explicitly. The challenge was to find the other 2 primes.
Yeah, okay.
And then multiply all 3 primes together, add .com to the end, and that would be the URL for the next step.
And the other 2 primes, where were they hidden? Deep in some code.
Surprisingly, no. They were kind of hidden in plain sight. If you looked at the original image file's properties, its dimensions.
The image size.
Yeah. It was 509 pixels wide by 503 pixels high. In both 509 and 503. They're prime numbers.
Wow. Okay, that's clever. So multiply 3301 by 509 by 503, add .com. What was on that website?
That site showed the Cicada logo, which was becoming pretty recognizable by then, and a countdown timer.
A countdown. Always dramatic.
Right. And when the timer hit 0, the site updated. It showed 2 sets of GPS coordinates. But wait, there's more.
Of course there is.
The image on the site, the Cicada logo image, also had hidden data. And that data revealed another 12 sets. So 14 sets of GPS coordinates in total scattered across the globe.
14 locations worldwide. So this wasn't just online anymore. People had to physically go places.
Exactly. Posters started turning up.
Mhm.
Poland, Spain, various places in the US, Hawaii, Miami, Seattle.
What was on the posters?
The Cicada logo again and a QR code.
Okay, QR codes. Scanning them led to.
Scanning the QR codes revealed 2 different book codes, and each code came with a riddle, hinting at which book you needed.
Riddles and book codes again? Any idea what books?
Well, one riddle pointed towards a specific volume of the Encyclopedia Britannica, the one with the entry for Cicada, naturally.
Makes sense. And the other riddle?
That one was more cryptic. Something like, a poem of fading death named for a king, meant to be read aloud once and vanish. Alas, it could not remain unseen.
Sounds familiar. William Gibson, Agrippa, Book of the Dead. That really rare digital poem.
Spot on. The self-erasing floppy disk book. And the code associated with that riddle gave an address, but it wasn't a normal website.
Let me guess. Tor. The dark web.
A Dachshund address.
Hmm.
You needed a Tor browser to get there. Definitely ramping up the secrecy, you know.
Absolutely. So navigating the dark web, what was the task there?
The Tor site instructed people to create a new email address using a free service and submit it on the page.
Hmm.
Then, wait for an email from Cicada. And the email that arrived contained a unique puzzle for each person using RSA encryption.
RSA. Okay, that's serious public key cryptography. So everyone got their own personal challenge.
Pretty much like a unique digital lock they had to pick.
And after cracking their personal RSA puzzle, was that finally the end of the 2012 round?
Almost. The final step involved another email. This one had a MIDI file attached, like a really basic digital music file.
A music.
Yeah, but analyzing the MIDI file revealed it contained a coded message, specific list of words, again, unique to each person who got that far. The final instruction was just send that list of words back to Cicada.
And then what happened to those who sent the where?
And then silence. Nothing. The 2012 puzzle just ended.
Wow. Just like that, leaving everyone hanging. But it came back, right?
Oh, it did. Exactly 1 year and 1 day later, January 4th, 2013. Same kind of image, same kind of message, back on 4chan. The hunt was on again.
Round 2, did it follow a similar path? Image cipher website.
The start was familiar, yeah. The 2013 image, run throughout guess again, gave another book code and another riddle to find the book.
What was the riddle this time?
A book whose study is forbidden, once dictated to a beast, to be read once and then destroyed, or you shall have no peace.
Forbidden, dictated to a beast. Sounds like Aleister Crowley. Liber al vel legis, the book of the law.
That's what the community figured out pretty quickly. Definitely moving into more, let's say, esoteric territory.
So using the book code on Liber al led to...
It led to a big chunk of hex code, like just raw data. Decrypting that required using something called Gematria Primus.
Gematria Primus
Yeah.
involves runes and assigning numbers to letters, right?
Yeah, and it's linked to the Libre AL text itself. But the clever part was how the message was hidden within the Gematria output. It wasn't just the letters and numbers, the tabs and spaces used to format the text. That was binary code.
Tabs and spaces as binary. Wow. Okay, that's sneaky.
Very. That binary, translated to ASCII characters, gave another Tor address.
Back to the dark web. What was waiting there this time?
At first, it looked blank. Just the words, patience is a virtue.
Again with the waiting.
But some tech-savvy folks tried connecting using Telnet, like an old-school connection protocol. It wasn't supposed to work, but it threw back an error message.
An error. Did it leak something?
It did. The error message accidentally revealed the name of the hosting provider for the server. Linode. A small peek behind the curtain, maybe.
Interesting. But probably not enough to identify them. What about the real world part in 2013? More posters.
Yep, posters again. Different locations, some near airports this time, which people found significant. These posters had data fragments encoded using Shamir's secret sharing scheme.
Shamir's. That's the one where you need multiple pieces to unlock the whole secret, right?
Exactly. You couldn't solve it alone. People had to find multiple posters in different places and pool their fragments of data. It forced collaboration.
So less individual genius, more teamwork needed. What did combining the fragments reveal?
Another Tor site, naturally. But this one was different. It presented a test, 19 questions, with only 5 minutes to answer them all.
19 questions in 5 minutes. Intense. What kind of question?
A real mix. Some mathematical, some technical, but many were really philosophical, almost like Zen koans or those weird Google interview questions you hear about.
Like what? Give me an example.
Things like, there is no truth, or You cannot step in the same river twice. And this really strange one. It is dark outside. Just that phrase.
Huh. Definitely designed to provoke thought, not just test knowledge. What happened after the test?
If you presumably passed, you got instructions. You had to set up a TCP server on your own computer, configured in a very specific way.
Set up your own server and then connect to Cicada.
And then nothing. Once the server was set up as instructed, Cicada went silent again. End the 2013 puzzle.
Man, they really knew how to build anticipation and then just vanish. Until 2014, which was the last big public puzzle, wasn't it?
That's right. January 2014, same pattern. A tweet from the account they'd used before, linking to an image. Black background, white text.
And the message this time.
Epiphany is upon you. Liber Primus is the way.
Liber Primus, the first book. That's the one written in runes, right? The one that's mostly still unsolved.
That's the one. A 58-page document, entirely encrypted in this unique runic script Cicada seems to have created. It's become the sort of holy grail for cicada hunters.
And very little progress has been made on deciphering it, even now.
Very little. Only a few pages have been translated. And interestingly, the book itself contains a warning.
Oh, what kind of warning?
Something along the lines of, believe nothing from this book, except what you know to be true, which fits that theme of, self-discovery and verifying things for yourself.
That's fascinating. And even the solved parts were incredibly difficult, weren't they? Like needing weird keys.
Extremely difficult. There was one page where the clue seemed to point to the word circumference as the key. Simple enough, right?
It is reasonable.
But the actual key that worked, it was fur from Fahrenheit.
Fur from Fahrenheit. What does that even mean?
Exactly. It seems almost random, highlighting just how complex and maybe intentionally obscure the Liber Primus is. It's a massive cryptographic challenge.
Okay, so after all that, these incredibly complex global puzzles, who on earth was behind it all? What are the main theories?
Well, there are quite a few, and they're all pretty compelling in their own way. Probably the most common one you hear is government recruitment.
Like the NSA or MI6 or someone looking for code breakers.
Yeah, exactly. NSA, GCHQ, looking for people with top-tier intelligence, crypto skills, problem-solving chops. The global nature, the focus on encryption, kind of fits that mold.
It does make a certain amount of sense. What else?
Another strong theory is some kind of decentralized group, maybe hacktivists, people really focused on privacy, online freedom, anti-censorship.
Like cypherpunks.
Sort of, yeah.
Yeah.
That aligns with the heavy use of Tor, strong encryption. And some people who claim they will mention discussions about developing software to enhance anonymity, something called CAKES.
Cakes.
Cicada Anonymous Key Escrow System, apparently.
Yeah.
Designed to fight censorship and protect privacy. So that suggests a more ideological motive.
Then there's the more mystical side, all the references to Crowley, Gematria, Enlightenment.
Right. That leads to the theory that it's some kind of esoteric group, maybe a modern mystery school.
Oh.
Using the puzzles as an initiation or to find people attuned to their specific philosophy. The talk of epiphany, the Liber Primus.
Yes.
It has that feel.
Or could it just be a game? An incredibly elaborate alternate reality game?
That's definitely another possibility. Maybe just some brilliant tech-minded people pushing the boundaries, creating the ultimate online puzzle hunt just to see who could solve it. A test of intelligence and collaboration on a massive scale.
And we did hear from a couple people who claimed they actually finished the first puzzle, the 2012 one. What did they say happened?
Yeah, two names pop up, Technology and Marcus Warner. They both said they solved it and were invited to a private forum on the dark web with a few other winners.
Okay, so something happened. What was the forum like?
They said the discussion was about ideals like privacy and freedom, and maybe working on projects like that cake system we mentioned. But they also described feeling kind of disillusioned, like there wasn't a clear goal or leadership, and eventually the forum just disappeared, went offline.
So it didn't lead to joining some secret society or getting a high-level job, at least not for them.
Apparently not, based on what they've said publicly.
Mm-hmm.
And, we have to take these accounts as just that personal stories. There's no concrete proof tying Cicada definitively to any one of these theories.
Right. It's still a mystery. But even without knowing who was behind it, Cicada 3301 clearly made waves. What's its legacy?
Oh, huge impact. Definitely influenced later alternate reality games, BRGs. It really raised the bar for complexity and engagement. And it got a whole lot of people interested in cryptography, steganography, puzzle solving, people who might never have looked into it otherwise.
And it tapped into bigger themes too, didn't it? Privacy, anonymity.
Absolutely. It brought those conversations to the forefront.
Mm-hmm.
The importance of secure communication, fighting censorship, resisting surveillance. It really echoes the ideals of early internet activists like John Perry Barlow or groups like the EFF. And the cicada community itself, people trying to solve it, they seem to share many of those goals, promoting privacy, fighting censorship.
And one of the sources, a YouTube video, mentions something pretty wild, like the Liber Primus being solved in 2025 using quantum computers.
Yeah, that was a fascinating, though speculative claim in one video. It suggested MIT researchers used quantum computing to finally crack Liber Primus in 2025.
And what did it supposedly say?
According to that source, it confirms Cicada was this collective focused on knowledge and freedom, leading to projects like Cakes. And it suggested this has big implications for cybersecurity, the race to create quantum-proof encryption.
But that's just speculation from one source, right? Not confirmed.
Exactly. Very important to stress that. It's an intriguing idea from that video, but not established fact.
Still, it shows how Cicada connects to really cutting edge stuff. And it's not alone in being this kind of enduring mystery, is it?
Not at all. It fits right alongside things like the Voynich manuscript, that undeciphered medieval book,
Yeah.
or the cryptos sculpture at the CIA, the Beale ciphers, even older online puzzles like Eon 8.
What's the common thread there?
It's that hunt, isn't it? The thrill of the chase, the intellectual challenge. And they often reflect the technology and the anxieties of their time. Cicada is very much a product of the digital age, of concerns about surveillance and information control.
Yeah, one source called it the epitome of digital mystery, which feels about right. Despite all the effort, we still don't really know who or why. So, reflecting on all this, what are the big questions that stick with you?
Gosh, so many. Like, what kind of group actually puts this much effort into something like this? The planning, the resources. It's immense. Was it really about finding smart people for a job? Or is it more ideological? Testing devotion, finding people who think a certain way.
And what drives people to spend countless hours trying to solve it, often with no clear reward in sight?
That's a huge question. What's that fundamental human urge to solve puzzles, to uncover secrets?
And if Cicada popped up again tomorrow, say a new puzzle appeared, would you, listening now, jump in? Would you try to solve it?
It's tempting, isn't it? Even knowing how hard it is, how elusive the answers are.
Plus those strange phrases from the Liber Primus. Believe nothing except what you know to be true. Command your own self. It points to something deeper, maybe.
It really does. A call for independent thought, self-reliance, questioning everything, kind of matches the whole spirit of the puzzles.
Yeah.
You can't just accept the answers, you have to find them, verify them yourself.
Okay, so let's try and wrap this up. Key takeaways from this whole Cicada 3D301 enigma.
Well, the sheer complexity, definitely. The way it blended cryptography, literature, math, real-world searches, it was extraordinary. Then there are the theories, government, hacktivists, philosophers, gamers, all plausible, none proven. That ambiguity is part of the appeal, I think. And its legacy, influencing ARGs, sparking interest in crypto, raising questions about privacy that are maybe more relevant now than ever, especially with things like quantum computing on the horizon.
It really leaves you thinking. That final question then, if it came back, would you take the challenge? Or is some knowledge, some mystery better left, unsolved, lurking in the digital shadows? Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into Cicada 331. It's a reminder to keep questioning, keep exploring the mysteries out there. Who knows what other enigmas are waiting to be uncovered?